Welcome to the Pro Aging Podcast. I'm Steve Gurney, founder of the Positive Aging Community. We're thrilled to have you join us for interactive discussions with pioneers and thought leaders on a wide variety of topics related to aging and longevity. These insightful discussions and the Positive Aging Sourcebook are brought to you thanks to the support from our Positive Aging Community champions. Visit proaging.com to connect with them and discover hundreds of valuable other resources. We're excited to have you with us today, so let's jump into an engaging Positive Aging live and interactive discussion. Sin Meyer, I am thrilled to have you today because you just wrote a book, The Rewire Retirement Method, from aimless to amazing. And I can't tell you how a title like that will resonate with our community. So I'm really excited to get to know you, to dive into some of the tips and suggestions in your book and figure out how we can all rewire retirement. Before we dive into that, let's get to know you a little bit better. Tell me a little bit about your background and what led to you writing this book.
Yeah, I'm so honored to be here. Thank you, Steve. So my background is in life coaching. I've been a life coach for the past 8 years for specifically retirees transitioning into retirement, and with a neuroscience as well, like plugged into those tools. So basically, I wanted to put everything that has been helping this specific audience fulfill purpose, passion, all the non-financial aspects of retirement, like the invisible things that we don't talk about and prepare society for. And glean all of those from the past 8 years into a book that's more accessible to people who are not gonna find me and hire me as a coach, right? So I got into this just as a passion calling, not because I went to school for it. I have marketing director background, like 20 plus years there. So it was just like, I grew up playing music in retirement homes. I saw early on what happens with a sedentary lifestyle. Both my grandparents passed with Alzheimer's, and then my dad in 2011 had brain surgery and 38 rounds of radiation. So I really dove into neuroscience and coupled that with the life coaching and just systematized a way to unlock a spiral up in retirement, not a spiral down. Yeah.
I love it. And we're going to dive into the book and the table of contents, but I got a few insights. Well, first off, you have a music background. What was your instrument, or what was your
Violin.
violin? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
So the one of the things that I love about what you said is that the coaching profession is so needed in this segment, because so many of us, our purpose is basically around that 40 to 80 hour a week job and our family. And when we transition or graduate to the next step, many of us are lost. And the fact that you've made that your profession, I think is wonderful. And then with your family, you know, the thing that I'm constantly reminding people is that none of us have a crystal ball on no matter how well we take care of ourselves, and we should all be taking care of ourselves. It's no guarantee that we're not going to have a sort of a life-altering healthcare change that we need to embrace. And without a coach or without a plan, those changes can be much more daunting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's interesting, like throughout the years, it's the super high achievers, go, 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 accomplish, like C-suite business owner type of career enthusiasts that come up blank, right? Because these external motivators, money, career, family, achievement, right? The ladder, and then versus like the intrinsic motivator. So that's what I help people like reveal. And it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do with this open structure, this open identity, right? As they graduate. So
I
yeah.
love it. I love it. All right, let me share the book, and folks, you can get this book on Amazon, The Rewire Retirement Method. And we're also I'll make sure that there's a link to that, as well as Sin's website, Second Wind Movement. But Rewire Retirement, I love diving into table of contents with our
Okay.
authors. And what I see here is that you've got this book broken down into three parts. Part one, the old way versus the new way. Part two, break down the rewire retirement, a breakdown of the rewire retirement method. And part three, avoiding the brain traps. And
Hmm.
okay, let's dive into this. First off, I'm always intrigued by authors. Like, how did you how did you come up with these three parts? And maybe let's and then we'll dive into all three of them.
Okay, cool. So I have a process and a system called the Rewire My Retirement. It's a program, right? So it's a 3 month program. It's based on neuroscience, which is why the longevity has to be at least minimum 3 months. And then it builds like foundational structure for a launching pad for indefinite growth throughout the rest of time. And so rather than just slap the system into a book, there needs to be context. And so part one is the context, right? It's the old way versus the new way. It's why we need to adopt something like this because society does not set us up for this. Retirement planning equals financial planning in our society, right? If you look it up on Google, 98% of the information is financial planning, right? And so what about all the invisible stuff? What about not being a stereotype, right? It's not time to wind down. So my personal heart mission is to just flip that stereotype on its head, uproot ageism by supplying people with the tools to launch upward, right? It's the beginning of a huge growth journey. There's probably for some more than your career period left, right? So, putting it into context and framing it in a way where people are like, okay, yes, like the invisible stuff, this is what I've been feeling. Yes, this is accessible. And so then in the middle is where we go into the system itself so that we have that context. And then the third part is just the real life, real people experiences and traps and how they would fall off or the things to avoid, right? And so it's kind of like wrapping it up with how to implement this in reality successfully. So
I
those are the
love
three
it.
parts.
Okay, so now the old way, I get it. I mean, the big picture here is, and I agree, retirement planning is basically it's a financial model. It's sort of like, okay, you want to retire, max out your 401k, do
Yeah.
this, do that. And then if we're lucky enough, and I say if we're lucky enough,
Yeah.
we've got a pot of money at the end that affords us the opportunity to move to this next chapter with some freedom. And
Hmm.
the and do you find have you found that people struggle with this?
Yes, yes. So I mentioned earlier that I had a 20 plus year career as a marketing director, and one of those industries was financial advisors. And so I saw firsthand people with big nest eggs go through a honeymoon period, blast through it, sitting on a big nest egg, losing purpose, losing momentum, losing zest and energy for life, and then settling into that sedentary lifestyle. And it's like, oh my gosh, no, 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 no. And so, on top of that, it's like, nest doesn't matter how big your nest egg is, there's like this gaping sense of like identity and role and purpose and accomplishment and that like I always say that energy that you exert into your career and family building, like peak career life, goes up when you retire and you graduate. And if you don't direct it somewhere very clear that's going to energize you, right, intentionally, that's unique to you, not stereotypical, then it's going to direct itself into the retirement rut, which the symptoms are depression, anxiety, unfortunately, right? And that sedentary lifestyle. So,
Man, I
yeah.
love it. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm hoping you might. I got another question before this, but I'm giving you a warning. I would love it if you've got like a story from the book of a success story of somebody
Oh,
that
yeah.
struggled that you might anecdotally share with us, or from your practice, from your client practice. But before we dive into that, I mean, obviously, we want people to join your free masterclass. We want people to order the book. But can you give us a big picture at at this system that you've created, the Rewire retirement system, what are some of the components in that?
Yes. Okay. So the system itself is designed to have people gain clarity first before taking action, right? So this lack of structure, this lack of purpose, this lack of firm, authentic identity in this new phase um, is unclear, yet people skip over that and just do trial and error, right? I'm going to go to the senior center. I'm going to play pickleball. I'm going to do all the hits, the stereotypical hits. And sometimes, more often than not, they're not the right fit because just as your career and family life are unique to you, right? This period is also unique to you. And the way that you want to share your unique gifts and the way that you want to fill this totally open structure is going to light you up from the inside out in a totally, completely different way than the next person. And so gaining clarity is very, very important. And we just skip over it because we typically think like, oh, I have it better than the next person, or I have enough for retirement. I won't outlive my money. Like I should stop complaining, right? And so we then smash down these desires that are just
Hmm.
like really, really kind of chomping at the bit to come out. So the system itself, based on neuroscience, because it prods every single day to activate the reticular activating system in your brain. So the RAS, right? And so very much a systemized way to gain clarity first. And we dig into the 5 rings of retirement in my system, and then we engage microsteps still under that daily system so that your brain is like literally creating like a new neural pathway that's centered around this purposeful goal, this identity, this self-fulfillment, right? Path that is at the forefront now. And so we go from interaction to outer action, which is step 2, the micro stepping. And then step 3 happens at step 1. So there's that momentum that is below step 1 and step 2 that starts and continues throughout indefinitely, right? So it's designed to rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. You will only gain more clarity as you continue the process, and you will only engage more and more and more micro steps and pull layer by layer by layer, piece by piece of your dream life into your reality. And it will grow with you as you evolve, develop, change, fine tune as a human, right? And so that momentum is very key. It's based on consistency. It's based on your new neural pathway really first getting paved and then getting more and more open and solidified so that the old way, literally all that conditioning, doesn't harden and you're not relying on that anymore. There's that tipping point where it's like the new way. Yeah.
Well, it's a very fitting title of your book, Rewire, because I think that you've nailed it. Is that the we need to rewire our way of thinking from the traditional ways that we found purpose. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really exciting when you present it this way. It makes me sort of realize in the conversations that I've had with so many people how we just sort of blindly fall into this chapter of life, maybe similar to the way that we graduated from high school and we went to, oh, well, I guess I got to
Yeah,
go to college. I guess I got
for
to get a job.
sure.
And
Yes.
just kind of like sheep, we just sort of follow the the path that has been beat down in front of us. And the opportunity to create a custom uh, path of our own and then develop new muscle memory so
Mm-hmm.
that this is normal. But what I love about it is that this can be very selfish to the for one time in our life, we're not uh, necessarily accountable to our employer, our business, our family. This should be your opportunity to achieve your dreams.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So selfish, definitely in a good way, like where you're
Yeah.
tapping into your authenticity. And because it's based on micro steps, like it's literally just like 20 minutes a day, basically.
Hmm.
You can still have it all. You could still have your responsibilities. You can still fit into society. You can still, you know what I mean? Like follow the normal ways of doing it. It's not like a big blast that like you're blowing it all up. It's like you're incrementally doing these profound changes that are so meaningful to you specifically.
I
Yeah.
love it. And yeah, when I said selfish, I caught myself because like for me, I when I'm introspective about what makes me tick, it's helping other people. And
Exactly.
so like a
Exactly.
lot of times when we use a word like selfish, it's sort of like, oh, that means golf and pickleball and hanging out on the beach. But really, like somebody through your program may discover that, gosh, I really like giving back to the community. And what might seem like work to somebody else is actually providing joy in helping others. So
Yes.
cool.
And those are the different compartments. Yeah. So like giving back, is one aspect of it. And then like enjoying recreational activities, right? Like well, I call it the five rings of retirement. So if they're all energizing to you, right? Like you kind of focus on each ebb and flow throughout time, right? Once you have this system in, then your capacity in general to help others is greater, right? Like it's like you're fulfilled from the inside out in all these five compartments, and then your capacity is greater. Yeah.
Great. All right. So, I gave you advance warning that I wanted to hear. I love hearing stories, but I also want to make sure that I kind of understand how folks can work with you. So, your website is secondwindmovement.com, and I love it, helping you achieve a purposeful life. Um, I see here that you've got a free masterclass. Is that a great way for folks to just kind of dive in and get to know you and this philosophy a little bit better?
Yes, that is the perfect way. It's the free masterclass. It's how to turn a successful career into a successful retirement. And it
Okay,
definitely dives into the Rewire retirement method.
okay. And then I see you got the shop page where if somebody could buy your book there, and then
hmm
you've got a variety of courses as well.
Yeah, the
Okay,
main program, and then a snippet would be the 14-day post-career jumpstart, purpose jumpstart. Yeah.
okay, excellent. All right.
Yeah.
So, uh, I'd love to hear a story of somebody that maybe has gone through this process, anecdotally or otherwise.
Yes. I mean, so the caveat is that it's different across the board. So the system is the same, it's the golden thread, but the outcome is so different. And so we never want to predict outcomes because that would be capping off all the imaginative, amazing ways that people gain fulfillment and purpose and contribute and all these different formats, right? We don't want to cap off the format. So the outcomes have been as amazing as like climbing mountains again after fallen, like bad falls hiking and COVID at its peak and TIAs. So like mini strokes, right? And then overcoming that, and then getting into a microstepping system where there's like strong fulfillment, like all the five rings of retirement feed into each other and they fuel the energy in general, like holistically. And so it's like grandfathering 22 kids, right? Um,
Oh,
yes, right. And like
okay.
connecting with each of them, right? Like patriarch of this family, amazing, like deeper connections, and like microstepping my way physically to the top of mountains by my 70th birthday, right? Something like that, like where you're physically down and out for a while and just like getting all this inner energy that like just surges you to what most people would deem like near impossible. Um, and so that's one person. Another one is
Well,
like,
I'm glad you brought that up
yeah,
because see, I think until somebody has like a change in their health or their lifestyle, like that's why one of the things like people I was on a call earlier today and it's like, well, what age do I start doing this? And it's like, look, any the age is just a number. I know it's a cliche, but it really is. Um, it's more where I feel like people need assistance is what you were just saying. nobody predicted they were going to have a stroke.
Hmm.
They had a stroke and their lifestyle changed, and they've got to reinvent themselves. They've got to find purpose with a different body, a different abilities than they had previous, and that's tough, and having a coach like you, having a system is I see really essential unless you're one of these just super self-motivated, you never went to a health club, you had your weights in the basement and you did all that and uh
Hmm.
but having somebody like you by their side is got to be great.
Mm, mm, thank you. Even the most like fit, like super health enthusiasts, right? There's like other aspects that feed into it as well, right? So, for example, someone who runs marathons or does like the 100-mile cycling events, right? It's like they've got rigid workouts, like, an hour per day, right? Deep into it. But so, the thought is if I have my health, then I can enjoy everything else. But you need clarity on the other stuff. So, even if you've been keeping up with the physical maintenance and the strength, well, like pre-retirement to post-retirement, and you can even go deeper into it, right, with your home gym and your recreational activities without transitioning like the other aspects of it, right? Because it's all holistic. I'm telling you, like they all fuel each other. And so without that purpose, it's like, ugh, rudderless. Like we can all fall victim to it. It doesn't matter what age either. If you're seeking, there's something more. Once you start asking those questions, like, oh my gosh, I feel like something's missing, or so I'm craving some sort of like electrifying experience, or just I want more. I know that there's a void. I call it a subtle void that hums and grows in the background. That is so important to pay attention to, because otherwise, that can come and grow to a point where you're like, oh, what's the point of even working out anymore, keeping this like physical body like super fit, right? If there's something missing. And so this system has helped those types of like super physically healthy, keen
Mhm.
individuals gain another sense of like purpose, right? So typically it's creation, right? It's sharing unique gifts, it's sharing wisdom, it's writing books, it's starting chapters, it's contributing like on boards, it's starting projects. Like that is very important as well. Hmm.
I love it, man. This is great. I just ordered my book. I can't wait to check it out. Um, I you're delightful, and you're serving such an important market to help people contribute while they're here on this planet.
Yeah.
But is there any last thing that you want to share that we haven't talked about today?
The last thing would be to not go outward and play the comparison game, right? Like you are an individual. You have innate, deeper desires, wishes, dreams, goals that are like unique to you. So inward first and then external. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, no keeping up with the Joneses here. Let's have a, all of us should have a unique map for this amazing chapter in our lives. So, Sin, thanks so much for your time today. I am, like I said, I'm really glad to have met you, and I'm really excited to introduce you and your concept to our community.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you for what you do.
You bet.